How do you think this plays for him overall politically? Christoper.
Well, I think that when you talk about a complex issue like sending our forces into war, there are always going to be people on both the left and the right who question what you do. But I think what the president has done is very sensible. I don't think we needed to take the lead here. I just heard the general on before us saying that this was a French action. Of course the French had to be involved here. It's their money that is funding Gaddafi right now. It's the British and the French who have basically traded with him. We haven't. So I think that there's a lot of concern on the left, and I think you'll continue to hear more of it. But I'm a little bit more concerned about the rhetoric I'm hearing from the right. Either the president was too slow to act, or we're not acting enough, or we're not taking a big enough role. I want to know how the people on the right are going to pay for this, because quite frankly, it costs $1 billion a day to do this, and to cut NPR, that gets you through lunch, which is basically their only effort for solving our financial problems.
You just raised two really good points, Christoper, and I want to get into both of them. We're going to get to the money second, but first of all, Andrea, what about the charge that conservatives, some of whom were out there saying that the president wasn't decisive on this issue, that he was traveling in Brazil, that he wasn't taking this seriously enough? What about that charge? Can you turn around now and say this is an overreach?
Well, I would be very careful to generalize that those on the right are the ones urging this president to get into this war somehow. Look, I think the left and the right are actually going to find a lot of common ground here. They both look at President Obama, who wants to make defense cuts, and they say, why are you doing this now? I mean, look, we've heard all the analysts on this morning. The time to act would have been 2 weeks ago. You do not commit the prestige of the United States, call for Gaddafi's removal, as Obama did, and then do nothing. He should have had.
But Andrea, what they're saying is that they were working for to put together this group with France and with the UK. That that took time. That they didn't want the U.S. to be out in the lead in this, given our situation in Iraq and Afghanistan. Is that is that thinking out of line in your opinion? And then I'm going to go back to you, Christoper, on the cost of all this.
But the French do not have the money and this willpower to stay there. If we go in, if we get involved in this coalition, we own it. This is a fourth world country. You heard the general say it. We do not have U.S. interests there. There are tribes that hate us. And when we get involved, we own it. We're going to pay for it, and we should stop the nation building. Yeah. This is coming from myself, a conservative, and other conservatives are saying the same thing. And it's a broader point, Martha. What is the discernible policy of this administration when it comes to the Middle East?
That's a question that needs to be answered. Christoper, go ahead.
2 weeks ago, the Arab League hadn't acted, the UN hadn't acted, there hadn't been a coalition put together. I know that the Bush doctrine is to saddle up, go in, and then try to get help later, but I think the responsible course is to wait and build support around the world before we act alone. We are not going to pay and shoulder the burden of another war in this country. We can't do it.
Your points on both of your points are well taken. Let's take a look at how much the cost of this is, because we've talked so much before all of this started blowing up, literally, about the financial situation here at home. And this is something that needs to be taken into consideration. That is a $9 billion number. That's over 180 days. It costs $350 million a week to impose this no-fly zone. And it is 6.5 times larger than the Iraq no-fly zone, and with it comes a larger cost. A quick thought from Christoper and then from Andrea on the cost of all this. Go ahead, Christoper.
Well, like I said, all of these guys in Congress, all these people on the right, the John McCains, the Boehners, that are saying we needed to do more, quicker, sooner. I want to know how they're going to pay for it. Are they willing to raise taxes to pay for another war? I don't think they are.
Get off the talking points. Honestly, this president and Democrats failed to pass a budget last year. How can this president even get involved in a coalition when we don't know what our own finances are here at home? He dropped the ball last year, and he's dropping it right now.
Which is it, right wing? Not be involved? Are we involved too much? Are we involved too little? Bottom line is this. The Republican talking point is that he doesn't lead.
Of a debate that we're going to be talking about for many days to come.